Assalamu alaikum, my friends. I hope you're well. Welcome to another episode of the Revelation Experience. Today is actually an unplanned episode because I wanted to chat with you guys real quickly about something. You know, I had originally a class that I had prepared for you, but something came up and I kind of wanted to talk about this real quick. So we're going to go on a little bit of a field trip today. You know, in the last few days, there's been a lot of buzz about recent events in France because there was yet again another Draw Muhammad cartoon, right? There was this whole idea of this teacher who put out this cartoon and then she was just savagely killed, and the whole thing was just a mess. And you know, Muslims, we always shudder when this happens because it's just like the response from the community is just so egregious. It just destroys any kind of, you know, capacity to have a conversation about what's really going on here. Now, suffice it to say, any Muslim, any human being with an ounce of good in their hearts knows that you cannot just go around and savagely punish people for what you think is right or wrong, right? This goes against the very fundamentals of being a Muslim. And so, you know, that's all I can say about that. But the bigger issue here is that this thing comes up over and over and over again, right? In fact, in 2015, in my very city of Phoenix, Arizona, there was a Draw Muhammad cartoon contest. And this was sponsored by some like hate groups here in the valley in Arizona. And I vividly remember this because this was literally right before I was about to publish Revelation. So today I'm taking you on a little field trip to the mosque where this entire rally happened. And at the time, that day, there were hundreds of people there rallying with their machine guns and so forth. And then Muslims who were going for prayer. It was a Friday prayer. And then there were a lot of people from other faiths who came to form a protective barrier between the protesters and the Muslim congregants who were going to the prayer. It's really a beautiful kind of image of what I saw in Phoenix, Arizona, where you had Christians and Jews coming together, standing for their Muslim neighbors. Now, back then, I actually wrote an article about what drives people to extremist views and how do you deal with people who have such extreme views, because this is a problem that exists within so many different communities. It's not just a Muslim problem. It's not just a white supremacy problem. It's a problem that kind of really infects many, many different tribes, right? And so I'll link that to you below, but a lot of the key points from that is that you really need to dig deeper. You can't just say, oh, these people hate and they're bad, or these people are extremists and they're bad. If you want to have a really serious conversation about this, you have to look at the factors that drive hatred. And a lot of this comes with affiliation, with a feeling of belonging, with kind of like gang mentality and so forth. And it's really important to get into that so you can start figuring out what are the solutions to that. But today what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit more about what does a Muslim do when they are confronted with news like this. How do you handle a situation where you're upset, at the insult done onto you, but you're also upset with the reaction from people who are saying that they are from your community? You know, it's interesting. One of the reasons I actually moved to Phoenix, Arizona is because I love the desert. There's just something about it. It's the mountains, the ruggedness, the heat, the palm trees of the American Southwest that reminds me a lot of where the Prophet Muhammad grew up in Mecca, and also where he spent the kind of like the bulk of his teaching career in Medina. And you know, just being here in the desert just makes me feel like I'm back in Medina, and I love that feeling of the warmth of the sun on your skin, and just the feeling of this ruggedness. What's interesting about it is that if you look back to the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, people made fun of him all the time during his lifetime. They were constantly mocking him, constantly making fun of him. And this is no different than all the prophets who came before him, right? People made fun of Noah, they made fun of Abraham, they made fun of Moses, and they absolutely made fun of Jesus, peace be upon them all. So this is part of being a prophet, is that you're going to be mocked. You're going to be called crazy. You're going to be called stupid. You're going to be called an extremist. Because what you're calling for is extreme ideas, right? Jesus, peace be upon him, went to the temple itself and flipped the tables of the temple. That is extreme behavior, because the society had gone to an extreme, and he was calling for correcting the way society was going, right? So anything can be extreme depending on your perspective. And so in that way, Jesus was called an extremist. In the same way, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was also ridiculed and mocked. In fact, there's one interesting story where people used to make a joke about his name, and instead of calling him Muhammad, which means the praised one, they would call him Mudhammam, which means the cursed one. And as I write about this in my book, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he didn't get upset. He didn't yell at people. He certainly didn't hurt people because of this. He never got upset when people attacked him personally. Instead, he made light of the situation, because he knew that these people could not really affect him and affect his message. He was onto something really big. And so he said, isn't it funny? They're making fun of someone named Mudhammam, but I'm Muhammad. So he's deflecting this anger. He's not letting it come inside of his heart. And he's not reacting to the vitriol of other people. And this is our teacher. Our teachers are the likes of Muhammad, peace upon him, Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, and so forth. They acted on a higher level, a far higher level than their detractors. And this is what I want to get into today, is how do we react when people insult us, people ridicule us, people mock us, just like they mocked the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So we're just making our way to the mosque parking lot, and this place was packed when I first came here. I mean, it was so packed with press, media, everything else. And I want you to take a look at the place right now, and you'll see, really interestingly, it's just not that crowded. And this is the point that I want to bring home to you guys, is that after all that commotion, well, where's everyone now? Everyone's gone. All that's left is me in this empty parking lot with the mosque where everything went down so many years ago. And for me, it's a sign that tells me that when these things happen, I just need to focus on myself. Right? If things are out of my control, I'm not saying you just let injustice go and so forth, but when things are out of your control, part of our tradition, what the prophets told us, is that it's really important to look inwards and figure out, how can I make the most out of the situation for myself? How do I use these events, right, these controversies, everything else, as fuel to better myself? And that's really what Revelation is about. That's what the Revelation experience is about. It's all about trying to become the best version of yourself possible. Don't worry and obsess so much about what's going on outside of your life when there's so much within your life that you can control and make better. And so that's the only message I wanted to share with you guys today, is that, you know, when you get insulted, when people offend you and so forth, the prophetic example in many ways is just to shrug it off. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the haters. Instead, take whatever energy you have and pour it back into yourself. Invest in yourself, because that's really where you see ultimate success. And so I just want to leave you with that. My website, my book, Revelation, the story of Muhammad, peace upon him, it's really about helping you and helping me become the best version of ourselves. And so I hope you go to my website, therevelationexperience.com. You will see a lot of material out there, a lot of information, PDFs, the audiobook, and then my courses that I'm putting out there, and all my videos on YouTube, as you will see in the coming weeks. We will dive deep into the story of Revelation, the story of all the prophets from Adam all the way to Muhammad, peace upon him, and talk about how they sent us a message about how we can also access and harness the power of personal transformation in Revelation to have a more beautiful, bold life. You know, people ask me all the time, how are you giving this away for free? Because I love you guys. I really want you to have this. So anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to get out of the office for a little bit and go for a ride. I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Thanks so much for being a part of this. I will see you guys soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.